there also is this other space for me to engage with longing too. And I don't have to pick. I don't have to be like Eeyore,
Mhm.
whose life is terrible, everything's terrible. But I also don't have to be like, I can engage my longing and I can show up with beauty and kindness and strength. It's like, no, both are here.
Both are
Both are
here.
here and it's okay. Welcome to the Dating and Desire podcast, a place for conversations and resources on sexual formation for adult Christians.
I'm Lauren Matthews.
And I'm Bridgett Blood.
Together, we combine our years of ministry experience and time as certified coaches, helping men and women just like you navigate dating in a way that honors your core values.
Each week, you'll hear us talk to therapists, pastors, coaches, and other leaders in the field of sexuality and relationships.
While we acknowledge believers hold various perspectives on this topic,
We're gathered around the belief that our desire is holy
our body is good.
and our story matters.
Let's dive in.
Longing feels really tender place for us to go
Because it makes us.
because
Oh, yeah, go.
it's just scary. I guess I always feel like I'm the pessimist whenever I feel like whenever I'm on podcast, I'm not. I mean, I definitely identify as an Enneagram 4. So I love, give me good something to cry over. life is better that way. Um, where I guess I just am like really, really aware of how much something, I think I have a fear of lying to people, of like, this is just going to feel magical. Like, go out
Mm,
into the world. Like, I think about when people are like dating apps, for example, like, you literally are putting an advertisement to the world that you want to be loved. How vulnerable is that? Like, that is so
yeah, it's the most
scary.
vulnerable.
And it's not that it's the like haunting thing, but it is a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, it's exposing one of every human's core desires. Hey, I want to be known and loved in being known. Wanna get
Mhm,
coffee? Like, yeah, it longing is always tender. It's what
mhm,
keeps us from moving toward things or exploring opportunities. We can't lie to ourselves and say, "Nothing's at risk here." We need to be honest about what is
mhm,
actually at risk, but the inherent risk of saying, "I deeply want something, and I don't know if I get to get it."
mhm. Whew,
It's exposing. It's so tender.
mhm,
Um, and it's so beautifully human
mhm.
to dance with, to dance with longing and to make friends with longing and to not make it an enemy, but to see where, like, where friendship with this longing experience of longing can happen. It's worth it.
Well, yeah, and I think that there's this piece of we have to each for ourselves identify what happens inside of me if I don't get what I long for.
Mhm,
Because if our internal safety and security is based on an outside experience or another person's approval or initiation of our longing, then we're going to be
mhm.
stuck forever because there's so many times in life where like that's
Yeah,
not possible. I think for me in my dating journey, I've really had to be aware of fantasy of like, well, this thing and it could be this and we could get married and da 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 da. And I think there's something really beautiful about that. Like I constantly feel like I have to like uh what's when you like you mine for gold and you like sift the gold out of the
yeah, yeah,
river or whatever it is. Like I feel like I constantly have to do that with the Lord of like, hey, there's something really beautiful in my vision casting because I think there's part of the way I'm wired that I really care about vision. And so I'm like, okay, sure, we can have this conversation today, but like, what if we decide to build a business and what would need to happen with the business? And how would we, like, my brain just is like constantly doing that. So I think there's something really good about the vision that awakens in me of like, especially when you meet somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is incredible. Like, what's possible? What does this
yeah,
yes make possible? But I think I've had to work on like slowing myself down to just be really present of like, wow, like I'm really activated, which is great. And I kind of use that term a lot. Activated just means I'm operating in, I'm experiencing. I'll use it on a lot of different terms. It just kinda means that something's kinda moving in me. I think about when you have, like, an electric tea kettle and it's boiling water, like,
Yeah.
that's kinda what's happening in my body. I'm just feeling activated, I'm just feeling like something's moving around in me. Um
Yeah. Aware in a newer way, in a different way.
Uh-huh, which is
It's good. That was a major turning point in my dating life when I began to imagine what what does my life look like if I don't get this thing that I want so dearly and that I
Mhm.
think right now is part of my why for being on earth. That's
Yeah.
I always knew I wanted to be a wife and a mom, and that longing for something I have 0 control over accessing
Mhm, mhm,
was poignant, but a lot of for a long time, not getting to what happens if I don't get it kept me paralyzed and in inaction in the dating part because
mhm,
I couldn't imagine alternatives that yeah, I hadn't let myself think of what else could this look like? What else happens if I don't get this thing my heart is longing for? But starting to tap into, okay, what makes a beautiful life for me?
yeah,
Tuned me into what are my skills? What are my passions? What do I love? I started being involved in leadership in my church in a way that I hadn't before. Um,
mhm,
I think previously I thought of myself as like not a super adventurous person. I started engaging with art, like making art and the arts in a way that was just from this perspective, it was like so clearly creative and um, my life energy was flowing more readily. But yeah, it made my life better to really make friends with my longing and say, what happens if I don't get the thing
yeah.
that I want more than anything else I know I want?
So what did it say about you if you didn't get it?
Hmm. Oh, Bridget, what a good question. Um, I think initially I was thinking that if I don't get this thing, it means God is mad at me.
Wow,
It means I'm ugly. I think those are the big 2. God's mad at me and I'm physically unappealing,
wow,
right? Um,
that's hard.
so painful, so painful. But recognizing that, so for the first one, God's mad at me. I mean, God's so kind to be patient with how long it has taken me to believe that he actually loves me and is
Mhm,
has a warm, loving, affectionate disposition toward Lauren.
mm,
Um, I feel like this calendar year, 2025, the calendar year 2025 was a huge one in moving me toward believing that. Um, Not
mhm,
through more knowledge, but through really beautiful healing experiences.
yeah,
Um, and then, so more work happened with the other thing that was true of me if I don't get this thing. I really had to confront what do I think beauty is? Why am I counting myself out of it? Why do I put in other people's hands the
mhm,
sole definition of or definition of me getting to be beautiful or not? And
yeah,
yeah, I think for me, because I can be pretty cerebral, I did some beauty study. Like I looked up
cool.
some philosophy around what is aesthetic and what are the
Mhm,
things we can say more scientifically. Beauty includes things
yeah,
like symmetry in a human development place. Like there are things that for millennia humans have found attractive and what they signal. For
mm,
example, like clarity of skin or things like that signal health, which is a really
mhm,
big thing in trying to find a partner or, the
yeah,
classic things that people say they're attracted to. They want a guy who's at least 6 feet tall. Well, there's nothing magic about being tall for a guy. Like it's about signaling an ability to protect. Um, if a lady's going to be pregnant, she's going to be the most vulnerable. You're not going to be able to fight
mhm,
off a bunch of people if you're growing a person inside of you. And so, yeah, like all of that just made me, I had to confront what is beauty scientifically. I had to locate, like,
Yeah.
I'm American. So I got to learn about beauty standards here that
Mhm.
um, intentionally and unintentionally box me out of what counts because
Yeah.
of my chocolatey brown skin, because of my 4C hair texture, because of my wide
Mm,
nose and full lips, like my
mm.
body. Um,
Wow.
and even though it's painful to
Mhm.
begin to confront, oh my gosh, Bridget, the power and confidence that comes from saying the thing that felt most true, oh, you are ugly,
Yeah.
in part was like made up. This is a
Mhm.
social construct.
Yeah.
It has been so empowering to settle into confidence around my beauty, um,
Mm.
through the pain, and
I love it.
again, making friends with longing says that. I mean, we're in a different situation. If it doesn't feel too tender, what does not getting your longing say to you about yourself,
Mm.
excuse me.
For me?
Mhm,
Yeah, this is good. I think not getting my longing. I think it has to do thing comes to mind is I think the lie I hear is I don't care for people well.
hmm,
I know your face. If people are watching online, they go, "What?" Lauren's face just asked me a question. Um, which is so anti my I mean, I think that care and safety are just part of who I am.
mhm,
And so I think for me, specifically when I talk about right, because 'cause I'm not married yet, when I think about my dating journey of relationships that I've had, I think about, ooh, like, what happened that I wasn't providing enough care to be chosen, which if I
mm,
look at that at a narrative level, I have to be honest that that was little Bridget's role as a parentified child of, like, how do I take care of my dad enough for him to, like, pay attention to me?
mhm,
So that shows up, and so I think there's that place of it hits I think when longings go unfulfilled, it just kinda puts us all back, right, into those little spaces of, like, "Okay, hey" I mean, even just thinking about, you know, how your body hears the message of, "Oh, you're ugly because you don't fit a script," right? Like, that has just you've just heard that through messaging in the world, like, thousands and thousands of times. Like, of course you're just like, we're like, "Oh, well, someone told us the sky is blue." Well, the sky is blue. Well, who named blue, right? It's like, okay, well, it's just
yeah,
part of our existence. And so I think there's that space. I love when you were talking, I just was like, "Oh, it's really cool how the education piece helped you find like, get a second opinion to find other options."
mhm,
Because the longing to participate in beauty and to be identified in beauty, that's needed for you to live as a human. Like, you can't survive without that.
right,
Um, that doesn't mean you have to get married. That doesn't mean that this person has to text you back. It doesn't mean that you have to
right,
get the job promotion. Um, but it does mean that you have to have that met. And I think, especially where I feel a lot of frustration in the faith space, is we try to dehumanize people in the name of holiness. And so we're like, oh, well, if you just didn't want, you have to trust God enough that you're just okay, that, you're going to surrender everything to Him. And I'm like, I mean, I want to say some colorful language of like, mm right? Of like, no, that's not how it works. So it's not necessarily getting rid of the need that brings you to health. It's where am I taking this need to like
yeah,
godly good spaces because I can
mhm,
take that need to be named beautiful. I mean, there's the the hit of a dating app. I saw this reel the other day of a girl was, like, doing street interviews, and she was asking a guy, and she was like, "Oh, are you looking for a relationship? Blah, 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 blah." And he goes, "No," and he's like, "Nah, not really." And she's like, "Oh, well, why are you on a dating app?" And he's like, "It's just fun. It's like social media. It's just something to do." And I'm like, "Oh." So you so the need for entertainment and connection, really good,
Yeah.
really human, that longing, right?
Mhm.
Taking that there, from my value system, I go, "I don't know
It's
that
a
that's gonna
miss.
give me the result that I want." But
Right.
I can't actually get curious to change if I'm gonna judge it. I have to, like, bless that of, like, "Oh, like, I'm trying to connect with people that feel like I matter to them. Okay, that's a really good longing. Do I wanna take that here?"
Yeah, I mean, interrogating it, being open to it, like, making friends with it, questioning, and dancing with the longing. Yeah, it helps you locate other good things that are fulfilling and right now. To your earlier point,
Mhm,
being married is not the only place in which a person gets to be participate in beauty. I like the way you said that. Participate in
mhm,
beauty. So by locating, okay, that's what it says about me. That's what I'm believing. How do I engage in that right now? It shifts everything. And in the same way, when I'm identifying, I want to be seen and known. Praise God, we don't have to wait till marriage to be seen and known. I can locate I
mhm,
need to go to meetup.com, not match.com, because I need
mhm,
to find a group of people, like, to connect with
mhm.
over some shared interest. I need to be known,
Yeah,
and I get to be known
mhm,
and loved right now. And I think one really positive, maybe counterintuitive impact on dating that, um, engaging and longing in this way does is that it helps us be clearer about the dating we
mhm,
are doing. We're not looking to dates to and I wish I could have engaged in this more, but, like, at some point, I stopped looking for my date to tell me you're beautiful or not.
mhm,
I didn't get as far into that healing as I would have liked, but it on the other side, in marriage and this might feel counterintuitive, but, like, I have grown to a place where my acknowledgement and awareness, my belief in my beauty is separate from my husband's appreciation of me.
correct.
My beauty is a thing, and my husband does beautifully appreciate my beauty, but they're separate. So, like, when we engage in longing well, we get to be whole people, and the
Mhm,
task is always engaging in the longing well. Like,
yeah,
getting the thing you long for doesn't heal or fix the misplaced, the missed places, the places that we're unintentionally or inappropriately putting power to
for sure.
convey meaning in yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I because I was gonna ask that question. I was like, "Oh, I'm curious." That feels like a really powerful shift into being like, "Okay, so what am I looking for?" And I mean, I've been kinda like that question, like, "What am I looking for in this longing?" Like,
Mm.
for me, I always kinda, like, ask, "What's the story?" Like, "What am I looking for in this longing?" Um, and how do I move towards that? And I'm glad that you answered, like, how that shifted in marriage because I think that is really important because that opens you up to actually fully participate in your marriage. If it's just like, "I'm waiting for him to validate me all the time," then your ecosystem of your life is never gonna be okay if he's not perfect, and sadly, he's human. So,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
That's
men
gonna
are
just be part of it.
men are really strong and powerful, and that weight, the weight of constantly validate my being is too heavy.
Yes.
Like, so I wanna acknowledge, super capable, men are wonderful, and also
Oh,
that's
oh.
not a job for them, so, like,
Mhm.
yeah, then yeah, I love that, free to participate in the marriage, or any of the relationships, again, no matter where you come to.
Yeah. I think for me in the dating journey, it's been interesting, um, to get to a place where I'm like, I believe that there's goodness in me that's worth sharing, and I
Mm,
trust the goodness in you to share it, whether you show up or not. Like, I don't know, that's like a weird line because obviously you're not gonna just show up and share yourself with people that don't have reciprocal kindness and care for you. But I think
right.
there was something really powerful that broke in me when I stopped being like, "Well, I'll care for you when you care for me. I'll love you when you love me. Um, I'll name my longing when," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm just gonna show up and say, 'My life is worth sharing. This person is worth loving.'" Um, because they're human, and I'm okay. I don't know, I just really love,
Yeah.
I just love the phrasing and there's a whole bunch of, like, therapy talk that probably for another conversation for another day, but about internal resource of, like,
Mm,
I have connection to get my needs met inside of me. That doesn't mean I'm an island. I think, I do think that Jesus is a part of that. I mean, I literally have God living inside of me. What an insane sentence.
that's amazing.
Um, but from a place of like, I get to share out of the overflow of that, and it just feels okay of like, okay, I wanna show up to you in wonder and kindness, and that's good because I'm showing up to share wonder and kindness. Now, is there a sadness of like, right? Like when you shoot your shot and you ask somebody out and they say no, of course there's pain in that. Or, hey, you've gotten to
Mhm,
know somebody and now you're like, hey, this isn't a good fit for me. Or, you know, maybe you are in a long term relationship that comes to an end. I mean, there's catastrophic grief in that, like, absolutely no way around it. But the difference in my story that has felt so peaceful in my
mm,
body has has went from, I think in my early dating life, it was a you have like you're the guy that holds my longing, and if I don't get it from you, I don't get it,
mm.
to I'm
Shift
gonna
gears.
participate in the life that I long for, and I'm gonna do that with you for as long as I have the opportunity to do that with you because it's good of me to show up to my longing for myself.
So, Bridget, hearing you say this, I really, really like it. I love the perspective and the, like, sturdy foundation of saying, "I show up this way no matter who I'm met with." But how do you navigate
Mhm.
when you're met and you learn along the way, like, "Oh, I'm not being honored," or, "I don't like the way you're responding to me." What does that do to the feeling of how wholeheartedly you've been showing up?
Yeah, I think it's, uh, the really, really curious spot of, "Okay, what do I need? What's happening for me? What do I need?" Is kind of my first
Mhm,
kind of clarifying questions. And then that second step of, I'm not bad for offering kindness, even if I wasn't met with kindness in return. 'Cause I think there's a
yes.
lot of like, "Well, I was too naive," or, um,
Yeah,
if
I should
I
have known
wouldn't have
better.
shown I should have known better if I wouldn't have shown up with my longing, like, so strong. Maybe I came on too strong. Maybe I whatever. It's like, da, 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 it just all goes in your head and you just panic. And I do, like, of course, like, I think that's why you have to have a community of people and a coach. It's because
Yeah,
this is really hard.
yeah,
Relationship
it
is really
is.
hard to figure out by yourself. Um, and so, yeah, when it goes bad, I think that you still have to continue to bless you and bless them too. I
Mhm,
think that's a wild part in this is what I have found is when I have been able to engage longing in myself, it has given me the capacity to look at the way, in my case, like, I'm a woman, so I'm with men. If a man's listening, obviously it's how he engages the heart of a woman, but, like, I can engage the heart of a man and go, wow, I think that we're approaching, the fulfillment of our longings in different ways, and I can honor that you're longing for safety, for connection, for autonomy, for trust, for love is different than the way that it feels right and good and alignment with who I am to pursue in my life without turning it against him. Because I think in a lot of situations, when we come, and this is not just romantic, this is in kind of any situations where it's like, well, I'm doing it the right way and you're doing it the wrong way.
Mm, mm,
To wait, hey, like we're both trying to navigate how to have our longings met. We're both trying to navigate how to love and be loved. We're both trying to navigate how to establish safety. And it's okay for me to say, hey, the practical lived out reality of how you pursue your longing and how I pursue my longing is not lining up in a sustainable way for either of us is an appropriate thing to say. But to villainize someone else and say, um, you know, I think about when I see um, people that are like super, super like climbing mountains active. That's not me. It's never going to be me. I would love to go on a hike and like make a cute little sandwich and a thing at the top of the mountain. Sounds great. Take a little picture. But to say that's going to be my lifestyle or I'm going to spend thousands of dollars and travel across the world to hike mountains, that's just never going to be me. And
right.
so I think there's that place of like, I long for adventure. I long for wonder. I long for play and risk. For me, it's not going to look like traveling the world hiking mountains.
Mountain climbing you.
And so to look at the beauty in someone else and to say, oh my gosh, I super honor that that's what you want and that's what you desire. That's really beautiful. Um, and me showing up to get curious, I'm like, okay, well, in that, of like, well, what is my resistance against? That doesn't mean I have to choose it, but I think there's an opportunity even in that is to go, okay, well, what's the resistance in all of that without trying to moralize it of like, oh, I should be hiking mountains and they shouldn't be hiking mountains or, I know that's a silly example, but that's kind of what comes to
No,
mind when I think about that.
yeah, I think you're highlighting a lot of things that are important. I'm gonna try to pick one of them. Um, as I'm listening to you talk about that, you're talking about like how do we sink in the way we're living our lives, and
Yeah.
instead of vilifying a person for being misaligned with you, we're just letting a misalignment be a misalignment and
Yeah.
navigating, navigating away from each other as we discover that. And I think that highlights somehow along the way, dating has become this find out as quick as you can if you're my person.
Mhm.
And that contributes to vilifying. If my end game is as quickly as possible, I need to determine you're my husband or my wife,
Mhm.
then the spaciousness to get to know and honor and appreciate a person is undermined. But we have to also keep it real. We are, especially the ladies listening who want to procreate naturally, we are
Mhm.
on a clock. We are. And so
Mhm.
we can't give 12 to 15 years
Mhm.
fig- figuring it out, right? But the way you talked about owning and honoring without vilifying feels clarifying to me. It feels like if I'm operating from this in this perspective, then I'm going to be able to more readily own, oh, this is a misalignment. And
Mhm.
so we need to part ways. And God bless you on your
Yeah.
journey, and he blessed me too. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it doesn't speak to harm.
Mhm.
We've been talking about misalignment, and so I think it's important to highlight for men and women that when in the course of human event, no, just kidding. When we are trying to connect with someone and we
Mhm.
are the recipients of harmful treatment, um, all the way from extremes of like physically harmful treatment to
Mhm.
um, emotionally harmful treatment, gaslighting and calling names and
Mhm.
just not fighting fair, all of those things. When we discover that, we can call a spade and call that evil, even while
Mm.
releasing and blessing a person.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
feels important.
I love it. Yeah, this is I always feel fear talking about this. I call them the sparkly things. But the sparkly things are the ones that have, like, really, really changed because it slows me down. Like, I even think about for
Mm.
sure have been guilty. Like, my I like to do everything at 10,000 miles an hour, and that has transferred into my dating life, and that has my friends have experienced pain with that, men I've dated experience pain with that, like,
Mm.
I've experienced pain like that, like, oh my gosh, and I think it's the when I step out of the resting in the, "I get to participate in this whether you show up or not." Like, I get to participate in beauty. I
Mhm.
get to participate in discovery. I get to participate in bravery, whether you show up or not, has been really, really helpful to help me slow down the train and not make it outcome dependent. But it's so scary when you're in the moment because you're kinda like, well, I think there's that, "Well, I don't wanna waste my time," which we've talked about before on the podcast, but, like, it's not necessarily that, it's a it am I gonna have the return on my investment? Because you are investing,
Mm.
you are making investments on your longing,
Yeah.
and so, like, you wanna take those to places where you're getting it back, and I think there's just this reality of, um, how do I describe it? I don't know, I think about, like, the stock market, which I'm not that's not really my world, but I just think about, like, you want to invest money where you're going to get a high return. And I think that there's this place in dating where we go, like, we wanna invest in places where I'm getting a high return. I think the place where it gets dangerous and when we turn against ourself is where we go, "Well, I thought this was a high yield return.
Mm.
I didn't know." And I think that can keep us from wanting to invest our heart again, in the risk again because it's like, "Oh gosh, it just was too costly." Compared to, I
Mhm.
think about whenever they talk about, like, the billionaires that exist, it's like these people went bankrupt a couple times. Like, you gotta just, like, go all in, figure it all out, lose it all, grieve it all, cry it all out, and try it again and keep showing up. And I guess, my friend and I last one of my phrases, I think it's 2024, was like, "Taking the risk is the win." And so I helped me move
Mm.
from the win is getting married. The win is being
Yeah.
successful. The win is blah, 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 to the win is that I risked being brave, and that has to be enough for me.
Oh, I love that so much. It has to be enough for you statement. I wanna highlight that, like, and it is making you the person that when you do connect with your guy is going to be more ready. I will stand by this statement that there are some of us who are waiting for our perfect relationship or perfect person, and so we're cutting off opportunities that we need in dating
Mhm,
to grow and move forward. Not for the person that the experiences are happening with, but for, the fullness of ourselves. There are some
yeah,
lessons and growth that we will not be able to access outside of having dating experiences, and so I think one of the big realms of harm that purity culture wielded on us and other things is to convince us that dating and having experiences, romantic experiences with people is
mhm.
somehow using up our heart as the
Oof,
romantic love is a limited resource
mhm,
we've cut ourselves off from. And this is what I experience in my coaching and the coaching that I do. Men and women who have no dating experience and
mhm,
are 30 into their 40s and recognizing, gosh, this is actually a detriment to my ability to make the kind of decision I wanna make. I
mhm,
I'm cut off from the resource of discernment because I
mhm.
haven't had my skills exercised
Yeah.
in dating. Yeah, I think that's so good. And to your example about, investing, like, for the guys that are listening, they are making financial investment in dating, of course.
Yes.
If your budget line item for dating is fill in the blank a month, you want to use those
Mhm,
dollars to take women out, um, as best as possible. And
mhm.
so, of course, you want to see benefit of that. But I think your point really stands well that, like, We have to call having the experience is the win and trust we are going to grow in discernment and move forward because the alternative, it doesn't align with what a human is very well. It
Yeah.
doesn't align with the process we need to go through if we're going to date in an if we're going to date, if we're not going to be in arranged marriage type of situations, we have to own and accept, all right, fill in the blank a month is what's designated to dates. Maybe you'll even say like to the fellas listening, I have this much for first dates. I'm a strong proponent of a coffee date first. Um, and this much for second, third, fourth dates. Like let's keep it real and do do what works within those. Because I think there can be some discouragement when emotionally or financially it's not moving forward.
I think the beauty in that piece of I just was chuckling because 'cause I'm like, "Wow, people have really heated opinions about everything you just said."
Yes, 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 yes. Let's stir the pot.
Right?
Stir it
Like,
up.
um, everybody has them. But I think the beauty in that is, I think I've watched men be disgruntled with women of like, "Oh my gosh, I spent so much money on her."
Yeah.
And I think there's this piece of, okay, well, you're actually practicing this. People are worth investing in. Like,
Mm,
connection is worth investing in. And again, you get to decide what that looks like. Like, in no way are we saying you have to take her to some elaborate, $100 dinner. We're saying, a $7 latte. And if that works for you, if that doesn't work for your budget, to say, I want to invest time in you. Like,
yeah.
I wanna show up, I wanna be creative, I want to bring
Yeah.
care, but to bless that piece, because I think um, there is this thing for men of, "Oh gosh, I can't keep doing this," but to say like, "Dude, you're so brave that you
Yeah.
showed up to invest in the beautiful story of a woman, to show up kindly, to bring your heart, to take the risk." Like, I always kinda say, like, I think men are I can't remember what the other one is now, but, like, I think the there's a delicate thing of, like, men are invited to bring to offer their strength in romantic relationships, and there's something really, really vulnerable about that of, like, "Ooh, I'm gonna let you see me, I'm going to provide care for you," like, that's really, really delicate, and think
Mhm.
women bring beauty, not that women aren't strong and amazing and powerful, all the things, I think
And
women are
not that men
incredible,
aren't
but
beautiful.
there's
Men are beautiful too, yeah.
absolutely, they sure are.
Girl, you
Uh,
better talk about it.
yeah, um, right? Like, there's this beauty of I do, like, I'll gauge that of, like, a first date is, like, I'm not going super dressy. I'm not gonna show up in sweatpants, but I'm not showing up with all my cards. Like, w what I'm wearing, how close I'm sharing and touching and being close, like, all of those things are unfolding as we go along, like, that's not
Unfolding.
something I'm, like, jumping into.
Right.
I talk about how we share skin is really important, um, and I just think there's that really beautiful balance there, and I just wanna honor, like, for men to show up and to bless their longing of, like, you guys are incredible to show up and to invest, and women to risk, to share, to say, "Hey, like, beauty is worth sharing. My life's worth sharing." But that doesn't
Mhm.
mean that it has to happen, um, at a pace or in a place that does not feel safe to you. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
You get that gut check of like, "Ooh, I don't like being spoken to this way.
Mm.
Hey, I am I am showing up really intentionally to plan dates. I am really trying to connect with her, and I don't actually feel that." So it's not like this blind thing. And I'm a really huge proponent of say what's happening. And so to say, "Oh, hey, I have a little bit of fear." I'm like super like one of my first 3 date I don't wanna call them rules, 'cause I feel for, like, the first 3 date values
Yeah.
is I wanna use a lot of core emotion language. So, people are going to hear people in everyday life with Bridget are gonna hear a lot of emotion language, but I'm, like because I think there's this societal thing in me of, like, don't be too much, don't be too emotional, don't have too many needs,
Yeah.
and so I think that would really used to trip me up in dating where I'm like, "Oh, like, wait, I'll just wait," and now I'm like, "Ooh, hey, like, I have a little bit of fear. I'm really loving connecting with you. Um, I'm struggling. I've had a really long day at work. I'm kinda struggling with my emotional capacity overall today. I really wanna make sure I can pay attention and show up for you. Would it be okay if we reschedule our call to tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah.
And to just say the thing, or the,
Mhm,
"Hey, I keep showing up and I, am missing connection with you. I'm curious what's happening on your end. This isn't feeling great to me.
mhm.
I need to do something different." And I would love, right? I always say, like, that's one of my favorite things. I teach this to married couples a lot, but I think it works in dating. I think it works in all relationships. When you need to make a relational change of any kind, I always love to say, like, "This is not working for me. I need to do things differently, but I wanna do things differently with you."
Yeah,
And so it just kinda leaves that doorway open of, "Hey, the way we're having conversations, the way we're planning dates, the way we're whatever isn't quite working with me. I am interested in doing it differently with you, but if that's not something you're interested in, then I'm still gonna have to do something different."
yeah.
But it keeps responsibility on you for change and not waiting for someone else.
I love I love the idea of, communicating with someone what's going on. I think a lot of times there's fear that, like, we get so thrown off that the bad feeling not in quotes, the bad feeling thing happened,
Yeah.
and because maybe if we're not used to, um, having really effective communication, or if we don't have a ton of emotionally healthy relationships, the only option that's left is bounce. I gotta go. So that's when we're tempted to ghost someone. I had an uncomfortable feeling. I gotta go. I had an uncomfortable feeling. They did something that made me feel uncomfortable. And rather than spend some time in community, in journaling with the Lord, figuring out where did that come from? Was that about them or was that about something else? Um, we just have to run again, cutting ourselves
Mhm,
off from that growth opportunity. Um, but I love the abundance that's believed in. You are
mhm,
embodying the belief that there is plenty when you come to someone and say, "Hey, this isn't quite working for me. I don't prefer pet
mhm,
names from people I'm not in a
yeah,
relationship with. I really prefer if you just call me Lauren for now. It'll be
mhm,
clear to you when I want you to call me a pet name, but, like, for now, Lauren works best for me. I would prefer
mhm,
we don't, break the touch barrier for right now. That doesn't make me feel
mhm,
comfortable." Or, um, I think for the gentleman listening, like, this isn't just something that's initiated by women, though we are 2 women talking about it. This is also something
mhm,
you are within your rights. You have to articulate when
mhm,
the flow of something is uncomfortable, when a tenor of conversation is not what you prefer, when you're not being asked questions back. You get to say, I've liked what I got to get to know about you gotten to know about you so far, but this feels a little disjoint. It doesn't feel like you're as interested in learning about me. I wonder
yeah,
if that's the case or not." Like, you get to say that too, and must. And I love the idea of just putting it out there, because when you do that, if things could turn around, and if they don't, you have the confidence of knowing I showed up fully myself.
mhm,
I think it validates psychologically that my whole self is worthy. My whole self is worthy of being present and on display the whole time. I don't have to
mhm,
hide. I'm not playing a smoke and daggers game with
mhm,
showing who I am. I'm showing it, and if it's not someone's cup of tea, that's all right. We bless it and move on. But I give someone an invitation to something different. I know in our friendship, Bridget, the way you speak about emotions has been a beautiful invitation for me
mm,
to let feeling words be in the front,
mm,
because I'm experiencing my life through my body and my emotions. I love the way talking with you and being your friend helps
mm,
me practice the skill of saying, feeling sad. And that gets to be in the
mhm.
room. A lot of our conversations
Yes.
offline have been feeling sad. And I'm like, for all the sad things
Yeah.
that are happening in my life, and you hold it and we say it and then we talk about other stuff. It's not the only thing that
Yes.
happens, but leading with the feeling is really, really helpful. I love that about you.
Well, I think that's essential because what you just said, it's already in the room. So I think we
Yeah.
think in dating by not saying it that we're somehow making more space for connection. And if anything, we're just building up blocks between the person. We can't find them. If I'm going into a room and it's like full of boxes, I'm having a hard time like having a conversation with you. And
Yeah.
so, I think that's really, really important. And again, it doesn't have to be at, you know, I guess um I am someone who's a very verbal processor, very comfortable using feeling words, been at this for a long time. I've had to go slow, even in friendship,
Yeah.
in getting more curious around the friends that are listening that maybe they would identify and go, it's actually harder for me to show up. I have a hard time identifying my emotions. I have a hard time
Mm.
sharing my emotions. And I think starting really slow and practicing those little micro moments help you to build safety. When I think it does feel higher stakes when you're in a romantic relationship because again, you're now touching longing. It's not as scary for me. I think about this. This happened to me last year. I had a subscription for something. I don't remember. It was something for my business, and I was now going to use a new software that gave me the same feature that I needed.
Service. Yeah.
But um I still had a couple months that I had already paid the annual plan for the other software, and so I was like, "Okay, what's the worst thing?" I'm just gonna again, I literally went into it like, "Okay, I'm gonna take the practice in trying to show up with my needs in a way that's really not." Because the worst thing that's happens, they're gonna ignore my email or they're going to just say, "No, we're not able to do that." But I reached out and I said, "Hey," I said, "Then, a little bit of guilt. I already paid for it. I found something that actually is meeting my needs better. Would it be possible for me to get a refund on there?" They're like, "Oh, absolutely. I got like $200 or something like that back." They're like, "Oh, great. Here you go." And I think we have these experiences in dating too where yeah, it's devastating when someone's like, "No, you idiot. I'm not gonna give you the money back." Obviously, when we have those experiences, it's really hard, but that's where I
Yeah.
can bless and go, "Wow, I'm really brave for asking. I'm really brave for showing up."
Mm.
But then also I can build those pure body memories because I actually think the answer is yes more than it's no. Um, w and I do have a lot of trust in our listeners that our listeners are men and women who are wanting to move towards emotional safety, relational connection, intelligence, maturity, all of those things. And so if that's your heart and that's your goal and that's your intention, even if you royally mess it up and your humanity collides with another person's humanity, like the ability for repair and learning and connection is really, really beautiful in the middle of it. And that's a gift that you guys get to give each other. And it's not, I think, we touched on that earlier, the goal of success cannot be marriage. It has to
Yeah.
be connection to another human, period, however it is. And then you figure it out from there and you can bless the outcome regardless for both people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hear for some of our listeners, I anticipate concerns where socially, because of the bodies we show up in, it doesn't feel like most of the time it'll be a yes. It feels
Yep.
like for reasons outside of ourselves,
Wow.
we don't anticipate a yes. And so I like the way you framed the feeling on the inside, the fear that we have is universal. I
Mhm,
Granted, there are some people who are walking around in the world who just assume everybody's gonna give them what they want.
mhm,
But I love the way you acknowledge the fear on the inside and whether there are evidences that you don't
mhm,
get what other people seem to just get. Um,
mhm,
I think acknowledging like that can help you be decisive, discerning in where you extend, but I hope you hear an encouragement to keep looking for those places because I think your overall rule stands. While there might be some need to negotiate that in dating, when we're talking
mhm,
about those two people in front of us or two people in front of each other, I think there is a lot more room for yes negotiating than it feels like on the inside. And we don't get to we don't get to experience that if we're not brave and not bold. And I love that you said, "And even if it flops, we bless our courage. We bless
Mhm.
the virtues that are guiding us toward a more human existence, no matter how people
Yeah.
treat us. I mean, I engage with this every day in
Mhm.
coaching people who are having beautiful boundaries in apps and saying, it's been 5 days since you've messaged me, so doesn't seem like there's a connection. Hope that you have a great journey. And being met with vitriol. Or um, frequently, I'm encouraging people to have time boundaries in apps in a way that not a lot of
Mhm.
people are doing, and it feels weird to
Mhm.
some folks. And the vitriolic responses to, hey, you can call me at this time. The vitriolic responses that some people have to a boundary on the internet, it can be very disorienting and
Mhm.
discouraging. But even being able to bless the way you show up for yourself and what you tolerate, what you accept, and let other people have their experiences, knowing what's most likely is that the reaction I'm receiving has nothing to do with me. It has so much to do
Mhm.
with that person, their story, um, and so I can release them. I don't have to keep entertaining or help them. I can say, "Yeah, not a match right now. God bless you on your journey."
Mhm. Mm. So good, so good.
Oh.
It as you're saying that, it kinda reminds me of I have this phrase, it feels like it's not parallel, but I think it'll make sense, like, I have this phrase that something that's been really helpful in my faith journey has been this just kinda like, whatever sensation to I really don't care that God's good until I know that God grieves with me,
Hmm.
because if God isn't paying attention to what hurts, I really don't care what kind of, like, good things he can offer me, because that's not real connection. And
Mm.
so as I think about our conversation today and we talk about the blessing and just even the capacity of like, hey, I understand that my time boundary might be offensive to you and that might break connection and that's okay. Um, I think there has to be this space in our pursuit of our longings within dating relationships that we make space for grief too, to say, no, there are
Mhm.
actual limits to my accessibility of the things that I long for that are social, that are religious, that are demonic, that are, you know, family trauma, that are whatever it may be,
Physiological, yeah.
um, that are here and that are present, and I can just grieve. Like I kind of we said before, like the sadness is already in the room. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't go away by not pretending it's there, but I do think that we create more breathing room to engage the possibility that what we long for actually is happening when we can go, "Oh, yeah, there's a lot of sad things here too. Yeah, I did get overlooked. I didn't get given a fair chance. I did get misunderstood. I did get judged. I did get whatever it is because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah, that's happening and that's really hard." And there also is this other space for me to engage with longing too. And I don't have to pick. I don't have to be like Eeyore,
Mhm.
whose life is terrible, everything's terrible. But I also don't have to be like, I can engage my longing and I can show up with beauty and kindness and strength. It's like, nah, both are here.
Both are
Both are
here.
here and it's okay.
Both are here, and it's beautiful because the
Mhm,
fulfillment, I mean, it's delight, it's yummy, it's wonderful, and even in the grief, we have
mhm,
this lovely invitation to ask for help in believing or keep believing this big God that we serve who says, "I see, I have not forgotten.
mhm,
I'm gonna make it so good that in the end, this suffering is not even gonna be you're not even gonna be thinking about comparing to the glory
mhm,
that is gonna be in you and your body." And that is real, and
mhm,
eschatological truth, but it's real, um, and both can be in the room, um,
mhm,
and both need to be. There are lessons from each.
mhm.
So good.
So good. Well, friends, we're so thankful that you were here to join us in this conversation. We care about you. We want to hear your story. If you go
Mhm.
ahead and join us on Instagram, Dating and Desire Podcast, we would just love to engage this further with you. What are you longing? How can we hold it with you? How can we hold hope with you? How can we grieve with you? Your stories matter, and we'd love to get to know you more. It feels lonely sometimes when we're like, who's on the other side of this conversation? And so we'd love to see you there. And we just want to honor you and great job showing up. If we're the only people on the planet today that have
Yeah.
told you, good job showing up to your longing, good job being brave and doing the work and grieving and resting and trying again and owning where you
Mhm.
made mistakes and all the things of being human. We see you, we bless you, and we're so glad you're here. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks so much for spending your time with us today. If this conversation encouraged you, challenged you, or helped you feel a little less alone in your dating journey, we'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share this episode with someone who might also need the encouragement. You'll find links in the show notes to connect with today's guest, as well as other ways to work with Lauren and me through coaching and other opportunities designed to support you in dating with clarity, trust, and integrity. We believe you don't have to shut down your desire or abandon your values to build a meaningful connection. And we're honored to walk alongside you as you navigate that journey. You can also find us on Instagram at Dating and Desire, where we'll continue the conversation. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.